Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. Today we have Flash here in the bottom right as the red Terran. And in the top left, we have a player I have quite a bit of respect for. This is ForGG. Okay, I want to say a few things about ForGG, right? So ForGG has been back and forth between Brood War and StarCraft 2. He kind of got a little screwed. He was streaming heavily on Twitch for a long time, and then Twitch kind of shut down in Korea, so that screwed him up. And it seemed like he preferred StarCraft 2, but, you know, he made it into, a Star League in StarCraft 1. So he's kind of been back and forth. But nowadays he's playing, like, pure StarCraft 1 right now. Okay, and we'll see if he stays on that. Obviously, he's an old MSL champion, although that was kind of... Like, he's not someone you think of as a champion. He did win a championship over his teammate Jaedong with very technical openers. It was like kind of a cool run, but it wasn't something anyone expected and was never repeated or even close to repeated, right? So, a very strong player without doubt. We have many positive things to say about ForGG. But here's one of the things that I find to be really positive is the guy's a grinder, okay? So he has on his one ladder account, right? It's a barcode with the subtitle of ForGG, but he has like almost 1,000 games this season on this one account. I'm looking at it right now, 542 wins, 370 losses, 2,500 MMR. So, that's something that I personally look at, and I'm happy to see. I'm impressed by. He's grinding out. He's staying on the account. Some of these guys make like 400 accounts, and it's kind of annoying to see. It's definitely makes the ladder a worse place. But yeah, it's cool to see him like grinding hard. I think he'll probably try out for ASL this season and all that. And I wish him the best. So he's playing here against Flash. Obviously, he knows it's Flash. They're both scouting opposite directions. They're both going for what looks to be factory expansions. Yeah, and we'll see. We'll see about that. They actually sent the scouts at the same time. And this is kind of funny. You can see... look, we'll wait till he starts his factory up there. Oops. So you can see it's just like slightly better mining going on from Flash. The right-hand sides are minerals are just a little bit better. And I'm just like kind of watching... And you can see it's like, oh gosh, he's up like one supply, and like he was up an extra 50 minerals before, and it's kind of crazy, actually. But it's part of the beauty. People have actually figured out now. I just learned this like a week ago. There are some return cargo boosts on this side, and that's kind of like, we're getting a little bit too technical. I'm not going to go heavily into it, but the big boosting that happens on this side is return cargo on this patch. And this side, no one was using return cargo until... I guess very recently, and it's like these two patches or something. Still learning about that, but anyways, mineral boosting is something that I think you can look at as a newer player and say, okay, this is stupid. Like, why are people just getting more minerals? And the thing is, it's actually a little bit hard to do and a little bit hard to learn, but anyone can do it, and it just adds more depth to the game, I feel. And I'm on just to make it clear, like I've been practicing it, but I'm on the losing side of mineral boosting. Like, everyone in the world is better at it than me. So I'm not saying it because it gives me an edge, but I do think that it's actually a very cool aspect of Brood War that other games just mostly don't have anything quite like it. You'll see very small things like forcing patch double ups in StarCraft 2 and whatnot. Anyways, enough talk of that. Let's look at the actual build orders that we're seeing. They're cross-spawned, so Flash has opted for a very, very fast add-on after just a single vulture, whereas ForGG here has now made 2 vultures, and it looks like he's saving for that add-on, just trying to get that extra little bit of gas. Oh no, he starts a 3rd vulture. Okay, so like looking at the builds, there's not a great reason cross-spawn to go just pure vulture production. You can do it, okay? Like, TVT has always been a matchup where you can kind of do anything in the early game. If you're really good and flexible, then you can kind of open in any way. And that's always been the case. It's just, it's got more opening builds than anything except for Protoss versus Terran specifically. Like, that side of that matchup, like Protoss can open with anything against Terran. Terran can really open with anything against Protoss. I mean, against Terran. Absolutely not against Protoss. Anyways, third factory going up. So Flash is going to have very quick speed, but that's okay because the build that ForGG has chosen here with no add-ons has very fast Goliaths. So he has 4 Vultures here, which are going to 2-shot a Vulture, and then he's going to have Goliaths popping out. So when you do this build, Speed Vulture does nothing to you. But the Speed Vulture player almost always gets map control. Now, here is an interesting thing. Flash floated his barracks up and saw the 4 Vultures, and he added a 4th factory. Now he sees its Goliaths. Okay, when you see its Goliaths, you actually don't want the 4th factory. You actually want to get back in your SCV production. Because, like, if you go 4th factory, what you're trying to do is get more Vultures than your opponent. And if you do that, it's worth cutting almost any amount of SCVs because you can just win the game, you get map control and all that. But when you're playing against Goliaths, that extra factory of Vulture production doesn't really do much, and you're going to get behind on SCVs very oftentimes. So you can see, you're going to see skipped production. See, not producing, add-on SCVs. So Flash is, as he sees the Goliaths come out, switching his build completely. Double add-on, like he's getting mines, yes. He'll probably just go into like siege tanks after that and constant SCV production. He'll produce as he can off these, but as you see, it's not consistent, right? This is what I'm talking about with the flexibility that you need to have in Terran versus Terran. You can really kind of open with anything, but you gotta, you know, you gotta be able to bend around. Now, this is cool. This reminds me of a Sharp build from last ASL season that actually I've been really playing with a lot, but this is ForGG's own take. So he went no add-on 2 factory, went for 4 Goliaths, then double add-on speed mines 4 factory. So he's actually going to be on 4 factory Vulture now, which is funny. And, you know, we have like the Goliaths, which will make ForGG completely safe. Woo! Yeah, Goliaths are very good at just gunning down mines. 4 is a very good number to try that on. So he's still running around, and he actually clears this, and it looks like he wants to take that extra command center. But yeah, he's going to be on the 4 factory, and Flash right now, though, has mines all over, right? So when you have mines all over, your tanks can come up and your opponents cannot. So what this looks to me like is that Flash is actually going to get a little bit of a containment going. Like if he sieges in this general area, and he has mines in front, this becomes very hard for ForGG, but he does have scanners. So he moves up and he actually does delete those. And he's got a lot of Vultures. This is very similar to how Sharp was playing this, but definitely, again, ForGG putting his own twist on. I like this a lot from him. A very interesting build, super safe, and gives him a little bit to play with in the mid game. Now, he brings everything down, but Flash has a slightly better army here. I'm surprised that we're seeing that much of an engagement from ForGG. Oh, man, and he's getting some glitched AI there with the Goliaths stepping on top of each other, trying to lay down some mines. But you can see that Flash right now is getting a better siege tank count. It might be time for ForGG to add a 3rd add-on. Like, I'm a little bit nervous for him because look at the actual siege tank count, okay? He's still trying to run around and do some of the Vultures, which makes sense. The Vultures are pretty expendable. So he's got 6 siege tanks right now with 2 more about to pop. And we have 2 for ForGG with 2 halfway done, right? So that is like a 4 to 5 siege tank advantage at a given moment here for Flash. That's really, really brutal. You really want to have similar siege tank counts. Now, he just actually made a very good move. These are very damaged. If he could come out and kill off some tanks, that would be gigantic. Now, these Vultures rotate down, and it looks like he's going to go after this 3rd base, but Flash already on top of it. You should lose the SCV and get that slowed. ForGG finishes his own command center, going to Starport Wraith. So this is a very swift transition to try to break this area. If this does not break this frontal area for Flash, ForGG is going to be in terrible, terrible shape. By the way, ForGG leaves nothing here. Flash doesn't know. You can't keep track of everything in TVT, right? Like you can take these little risks where you're running around, but these mines are going to spot this move out. So now Flash is going to realize, okay, he's moving around me right now. A little forward scan there to see if he can move into this position. Flash sieging up, bringing more units as well. ForGG coming down. Maybe he thinks there's a base here or something. No, he backs up. But still, this is a very small army. This is the type of army that if you leave it out in the center, Flash can just unsiege everything and crush it. So moves it up a little bit. Okay, sieges this side. Okay, he's going to try to break some of these tanks. They're mostly repaired at this point, unfortunately for ForGG, but he does have a pretty decent army. Yeah, that does not go his way. Flash definitely taking a better engagement here, without any doubt. Flash has taken a pretty considerable supply lead, and it's mostly in siege tanks. ForGG still just on the 2 add-ons. So what I've been talking about with the 2-port Wraith is truer now than it was before. The 2-starport Wraith 100% needs to clear this. Let's see if Flash actually... He has an armory. He's making 1-starport Wraith. Okay, so when you see the 1-starport Wraith, probably he won't make Goliaths with this. We hear tons of scans going off. Oh, he just scanned the 2-starport Wraith. So this is bad, bad news for ForGG. He has to go now. As soon as this gets scanned, it's like, okay, well, I don't have time. I got to go. Goliaths build faster than Wraiths. So, like, if you're waiting for 2 more Wraiths, they're going to have Goliaths on the field. All right, so he moves up with these 4. Very important moment. Just going after some of these siege tanks. Kind of important to focus fire as well. Has these siege, so let's see. Flash is going to run straight back. This is an important area for ForGG to fill, I think. Right? He's got some good mines up here. Flash has a few as well. But you got to make sure that Flash can't contain you like that again. Now, his Wraiths are actually doing pretty fantastically, but with 2 Goliaths and 2 Wraiths coming up, he is going to have to back these up. Oh, wow. This is a sloppy attack, I would say, but he's really trying to reduce the siege tank count as much as possible. Actually utilizes his Wraiths. You know what? I take it back. That was expertly done by ForGG. I can't believe that. Like, some good Wraith micro, and he actually kills every tank, which is exactly what he needed to do. He killed all those tanks that were in the contain. Now, that being said, this is too far forward. Like, Flash is going to counter-break this immediately, I think. It's just so few units. Like, I'm surprised Flash even sieges here. If he can scan and see how little's here, he'll just attack, move it, and clear that out. But ForGG very far forward with a very small army at the moment. Okay, they're both on 3 bases now. We see 3 out on for Flash. He's going up to 6 factory, and he's getting a new barracks. It looks like that probably died very recently. Looking over at ForGG, he also is on 6 factory, still producing 2-starport Wraith, no cloak. So that's kind of interesting to see as well. But yeah, this is too far forward. I feel like this is a big mistake for ForGG. He actually did a great job kind of equalizing the game. But when you're this far forward, man, you better have a hell of a lot of units. When we're that low, it's much better to just pull back into a slightly more defensive position so that your opponent doesn't get free tank kills. Right? Like, every single tank right now really matters. Imagine he has 2 more tanks with this. So much stronger. All right, gonna go ahead and cancel out Flash's 4th. Flash also trying to expand up here to another base. So a lot of mines in between there as well. ForGG might be aware of that. His own 4th base coming up at the moment. I would say it really is probably time for a 3rd add-on. He's got +2 going. Generally, after +2 is going, you go for that 3rd add-on to make more tanks, because really that is the key unit in this matchup. All right, the Wraiths come up and are going to help out a little bit. The ranged Goliath's doing a fantastic job pushing them back, though. He is going to remove some of these tanks for sure. I got to tell you, it's a scrappy game. It is definitely a scrappy game and very well played from both sides so far. Definitely a very different style coming out of ForGG. But I really appreciate the way that he's attempting to play this. These kind of scrappy, smaller fights. Really technical. You know, I was talking before about how he's kind of more of a technical Terran player. Like, this is a weird way to play, but you can kind of do anything in TVT if you're good at it. Now gets pushed back on those Wraiths. See, once again, just kind of leaving. He's lost a good 5-6 tanks to just being too far out in the map with them at this point. And you can see Flash is starting to take a big advantage supply-wise. Dude, 92 workers is actually too much. But this happens sometimes in Terran vs. Terran, where, like, you're just producing so quickly that you just keep going SCVs. Eventually, you end up suiciding SCVs in this matchup. Like, any game that goes late, you'll start throwing them away. Because 93 is way too many. But it can be very good, actually, if you're in a turtled position to have these huge numbers for a little bit and then throw them away because you bank up a ton. And then you can just flood units out, right? Whether you're going to try to break siege positions or go battle cruisers or something like that. Now, 4GG is setting up some new spots, right? This looks like it'll be broken. It's just he doesn't quite have enough, and he doesn't have his +2 yet. It's close. It's almost done, but Flash has his +2 already. Brings in these mass Wraith. I think this was maybe a little bit unexpected. The Wraiths could actually take out these Goliaths as well, but he's focusing down right now on killing these Vultures. Yeah, it looks like he'll go after them now, but that's going to be a little bit cost inefficient, which is painful. A lot of SCs for Flash going into the top right. 4GG is expanding to the bottom left during this. Yeah, clears that out, but you can see the siege tank counts from 4GG. Like, he finally has that third add-on, but really at this point, you're going to want 4 add-ons, maybe even 5 add-ons from 4GG just to get that tank count up. You just need to have enough tanks that you can't be killed. Flash here, you can see 4 add-ons, right? So he's just like reinforcing those tank lines heavily. Oh, I actually didn't notice 4GG comes down with a little bit of a counterattack, but it's so small at this point. You know, as you get later into the game, it's more and more important to have like bigger lines of siege tanks. These early game 3 siege tanks sitting somewhere is scary, but like at this point, it's like, no, man, SCVs will clear that. It's fine. In fact, he sacks 18, 19 SCVs to kill everything and does fine. Now, the siege tank's coming up, trying to retake this position. He does have his own +2. Yeah, going to try to get up this ramp. So he lost the SCVs up here. Maybe he can hold the base in general. Yeah, picks off a couple tanks. But yeah, the mines are going to go down and probably blow this all up. Oh, man. Excellent mines there from Flash. 4GG still trying to use some vultures to help clear this out. I think we're just about at the tail end of the game, though. But I tell you, like... A good game from 4GG, right? I do think so. And obviously Flash played, you know, very, very well over there. Overall, he scanned the ports just in time that it wasn't a rout. The Wraiths still did very well. I think he really keeps getting caught off guard, the fact that 4GG is still making Wraith. And look at this. You can see the gas bank. So, and he is finally adding that 4th add-on. But, like, as your gas starts to get really high in this matchup, it's actually very hard to spend it, and you need to switch what you're making. Like, it's very comfortable to make a Vulture tank all game, but eventually, it's like, no, the Vultures, as Scan always says, Vultures are popcorn in this matchup. It's right, they have, like, basically no calories, they just get eaten, and you don't even feel full, and, like, you know, they just become garbage later on. They're still useful, don't get me wrong, they still can do things. But when you have 1,000 gas bank and you've been making 2-port rate the whole game, you're not spending correctly, right? Like, you can just go Supermass Siege Tank or Supermass Wraith or, you know, Siege Tank Goliath, you know, things like this. Wraith's going for a counterattack at the top right. Flash rotating some Vultures around because, you know, it's just not enough supply here for 4GG, so he doesn't have the tank lines he needs to keep everything going. The Wraiths, you know, they're still having some use, but when you look at these upgrades 2-1 against 0-0, the Wraiths are going to get cleaned super fast. Kind of cool that he never went Cloak. You know, as soon as you try to go Cloak, it, like, costs you a Wraith, basically, right? So, like, you can just get those bigger numbers, and Cloak is not always the way. Anyways, GG is called. Flash does take down 4GG. That was a cool game, though. I enjoyed that. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.